News with Gina.
The news with Gina Grad.
So if the name Shad Gaspard rings a bell, you might be a WWE fan. Some very sad news about him. There was a report just, a day or two ago that he had gone missing when he was at the beach with his son. But it does seem that his body has been found washed up on Venice Beach in California. That happened on Sunday. So two people walking on the beach discovered the body. Officials say it matches his description, 39-year-old. He was there with his 10-year-old son. They got caught in a rip current.
Oh my God.
It prompted a rescue by the lifeguards, and TMZ reports that Shad told lifeguards, focus on my son, get him to shore. And then he was sort of yanked under the water. Oh. The boy was saved. Police and Coast Guard boats, divers searching. They finally suspended their search. He was best known for his time with the WWE. He and his partner were known as Crime Time. And since departing in 2010 from the WWE, he pursued an acting career. He had roles like Think Like a Man 2, Get Hard, The Game, From Dusk Till Dawn, the series. And he was co-creating a graphic novel, Assassin and Son. And he was found just the other day.
Well, it's got to be brutal for the son, because the son at some point has to go home. Like, You're there, you're doing a math. You know what I mean? When people get separated at an amusement park, like at some point you go, okay, I'm going back to the hotel room, but it's like they'll find dad eventually. He's wandering around somewhere. When you're in the ocean and you've been on the shore and no one can see your dad, and it's been an hour and it's time to head back, that's got to be a horrible feeling. Also, were lifeguards on duty? Because I know you said lifeguard pulled them out, but they were talking like in, I guess it's, I don't know, maybe New Jersey or something, where they're saying they're not going to have lifeguards, so don't go in the water. Right. It's not safe. Right.
Well, this article said it did prompt a rescue attempt by the lifeguards, where he told lifeguards to go get his son. So somebody was on duty.
I have been in that and picked up by a lifeguard boat before, and I did that when I was like 10. And I've had it a few times. I don't know if you guys have like fully felt the effect of that rip current, but that tide. But it's crazy. And unfortunately, you have to swim out into deeper water, which seems really scary and weird, because
counterintuitive.
It's pulling you into this. It feels like it's pulling you into this death, and you have to swim toward the death. If you try to swim against it, you burn yourself out. And I remember, So,
well, I was going to say, I heard that you're supposed to swim sideways with it, but
like perpendicular,
right. But in that moment, who knows?
Oh my God!
I remember the reason I remember super clearly. It happened a couple times. I used to go to Santa Monica and just go swim out into the ocean. When I was young, I was 10. I always body surfed and stuff like that. And my stepdad and I, when I was 10, 11. Would a couple times a year during the summer just drive there and swim. He would swim out, I would swim out, and we got sucked up into it, and it was bad. And when you get sucked up into it, there's really not much you can do for anybody around you. You end up being 50 or 80 feet away from whoever you're in there with, but there's nothing you can do for them, and there's not much they can do for you. So we both just swam for our lives, and my stepdad made it in to the shore, and I may have gone out. I may have had a lifeguard come get me, and then they swim out and they pick you up in a boat, which is kind of weird. But anyway,
they just grab you by your swim trunks and just pull you in.
They take that buoy orange thing that Hasselhoff dry humps.
Oh yeah, the torpedo.
That big swinging dick he straps to his when he runs in slow motion. It's that thing.
Be ready.
So, but the comedy is we about the next weekend we were at my grandparents' house, and we're sitting outside having a barbecue, and it was my stepdad and me and my mom, and of course I was like 10, and I was like, oh my God, what a crazy story! This riptide hits, it's pulling us out. John, My stepdad's like, John's swimming for his life. I'm swimming for my life. John's ahead of me. So John makes it in. John's safe. He's safe on the beach. I get sucked out to whatever. And at some point in the evening, John pulled me aside. He went, could you stop telling that story? Because it sort of sounds like we went into the ocean and then I was swam for my life and left you out in the middle of the ocean. And I'm like,
it was a force majeure situation. It's so long.
I'm like, well, it is kind of how it went down, but I do get it makes you sound like a really bad stepdad that you just it's every man for themselves.
That's crazy. Gina, you said, I'm looking here on the CNN article. They went swimming in Marina del Rey and the body washed up in Venice, which is obviously right next door. I've swam on that beach 100 times. When I say 100, it could have been 200. I never thought of it as a dangerous beach. You know what I mean? It's just this very pleasant, wide open, crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't think about this ever in California. The only times it ever happened to me was once in Greece and once in Costa Rica. And you think to yourself in that moment, well, I've had a good run and this is how it ends. And there's no coming back from this. So this is, to think that it happened right down the street is very, very odd.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, sad.
Well, moving forward, Harvey Weinstein won't be returning to L.A. anytime soon. The convict has been.
You guys must remember. Do you remember conversations when you were a kid with an adult where they kind of said something and you were like, "Oh, I'm a kid, but I understand. I get what that sounds like now." Like when my stepdad said, "Please stop telling that story about me abandoning you in the ocean." I was a kid, but for a moment I was like, "Oh, I get it." I understood what he was saying and how bad that would sound. It's always weird and embarrassing, those kind of weird kid stories I probably had. Can we all remember 5 of those from our life where something was done and it dawns on you and real quick, and you think it's funny, and then you're in trouble, or it's weird.
You feel so ashamed.
Absolutely.
Sometimes,
and a lot of times, older relatives. I don't know if this is an Asian thing or not, and older parents and stuff. They would talk about their kid who is 10, 13, who has a sense of what's going on. They would talk about their kid as if they're not even there. They're like, "Oh, so Jimmy's starting to get glasses this year, huh? So the girls aren't really gonna like that." And I'm like, I'm right here, dude.
I was making fun of these 2 kids who I was friends with because we used to bust each other's balls. I was basically calling them stupid or talking about how dumb they were. And my parents were like, "Brian, stop." And I realized I'm talking in front of their parents. This is not polite. Yeah. Cause I was just joking, but I was like, "Oh, that's probably very insulting to them."
Yeah. We've all had
I was
those.
11. I was 12 or whatever I was. Yeah.
Yeah. Max Patter, write that down. I'd like to hear those weird stories. Some of them take a bizarre turn for the sexual, sadly. But I do, because I remember, here's another one. When I was about 9, 10, probably about the same age, my dad lived in a small apartment in North Hollywood off of Laurel Canyon, sort of off of Oxnard back. It's a 1-bedroom, and, I'd stay at my mom's house 3 days a week and his apartment 4 days a week, go back and forth. And he had a little bedroom in the back. And one night I was sleeping over, and all night, I just heard this woman in the next unit, paper thin walls. We shared a whole wall with somebody, the whole length of the apartment. And all night was just this chick yeah. Some guy was just pounding the shit out of her for 7 hours. And then I woke up 1,000 times. It's and the next day I just went in and I said to my dad, the woman next door, she's in agony. She's sick. She's so sick. She's hurt. We should call an ambulance and
check on her. And
my dad kind of gave the second his tone changed, he went, son, she was having, and I was like, oh my God, she was getting fucked. I kind of was half in between knowing and not knowing, but I knew in a second, as soon as he looked at me, I was like, Oh, and then this is going to be this weird conversation with my fucking celibate dad in a shitty apartment about getting fucked all night. But, yeah, thanks, Dad. Thanks, Dad. Yeah, I was about 10, Dad, I think, back in the day.
You mean your dad, the passionate swimmer and surfer who loves the beach?
Stepdad was the one who abandoned me to let me be claimed by Neptune.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Those are the weird sort of adult kid conversations where in the middle of the conversation you become an adult. I was a kid at the beginning, like, oh, this poor lady's groaning in pain. And we're like, when a man and a woman are in love, I was like, in the middle, I was like, oh, fuck.
So eject.
That's right.
So your dad actually did give you the birds and the bees and all that stuff?
I think that was as far as it went.
It was like my family didn't give birds and bees, and they didn't burn calories on their kids, either giving them advice or saving them from a certain death at a maritime disaster. But they were exceedingly honest. They were like honest atheists. So it's like if you would have said to them, hey, this chick's, I'd say to my kid, yeah, she's probably okay, stomach flu, and I'd go to the next room, But my family just like, well, here's what was going on. Like, very matter-of-factly.
I never got that, and I told you guys before, I learned any sex stuff when I was 13 years old from you and Drew on Loveline. And I didn't know. Only years later, I confronted my dad. I was like, Dad, how come we never talked about it? And like, even when I went to college, all the other kids got condoms, and you never gave me anything. And they just looked at me and was like, you? Condoms? Come on.
Right. Yeah, those things have an expiration date. You can only carry them in your wallet till you're junior before you have to throw them out and get a new one.
He sized you up.
Yeah.
Not actually physically, obviously.
Not actually.
With the
But the tape.
All right, Gina, what else we got?
Well, let's just tie up this Harvey Weinstein situation.
Oh, yeah.
He's been awaiting extradition to face his 5 charges of rape and sexual assault in L.A. So he's already dealing with New York. He's actually still in Wendy Correctional Facility near Buffalo. So the process started in early March, but the lockdown delayed things, like it delayed everything. And according to Variety, the county district attorney's office still hasn't filed this extradition request with the authorities in New York. So he's cooling his heels with his 23-year sentence. And most of LA's courtrooms have been closed the last few months, but they're expected to reopen on June 10th, which sucks because I just got a jury summon for June 10th. And hearings will resume on June 22nd.
Wow.
I might be gone for 1 to 10 days.
Yeah. How's Rose McGowan doing these days? I feel like she is
probably angry,
inspiring and insane sort of simultaneously.
Well, she's consistent.
She's very consistent.
Because remember when she kind of went after Alyssa Milano.
Right.
Is Weinstein getting like booty fucked in prison, or is he like okay? Like, is he like, you know what I mean? Like it's very heinous crimes, but it's not underage. Like, or do people was like, yo, I love Gangs of New York. Great movie, man, that you produced. How does that, how does his prison,
Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah. That's a talk of the prison. How does his prison life work? I always wonder.
I don't know.
If he's going the Cosby route, he's in basically isolation only to come out on Sundays to give his sermon to hundreds of inmates. I don't know that Harvey's doing that.
Yeah. Also, this is why, look, I know this sounds harsh, but if you're going to get thrown in for rape or molestation or whatever, on the way in, you got to shoot a cop. Don't kill him, but you have to shoot a cop because when everyone finds out why you got into prison, and then you have to spend a long time with a bunch of people who somehow find out everything. This world, by the way, whether it's the FBI or prisons, what happened to mum's the word? Like, how come everyone finds everything out now? Like, you talk to anyone who goes to prison and you go, oh, they know who all the pedophiles are. And you go, why? Do they have access to the records? Like, you're in a fucking cage. Why do you they find out everything? And what else? Oh, they got drugs. They all got phones. They got mistresses. They have RVs. Most of them have been to the Grand Canyon during their sentence. It's like, what? Why do you get to do everything? It's a prison. It's a fucking box with a cage around it. Why do you have access to all what the warden knows? Oh, believe me, they know. They find out. Why? How does it work?
How
do you know? Why do you know? If you're a guard and a guy gets brought in and another prisoner goes, what's he in for? Can you just say none of your GD business? Or do you have to tell him what the guy's in for? Or is there a special pedophile prison bus that's, painted brown or something that everyone knows? Like, why do we know?
Actually, yes.
There is?
For child molesters, there's a lot of times, isn't there, they're segregated because they know that they're targets.
I would. That's
so
again.
They wear a different color jumpsuit.
Flesh wound, but you got to shoot a cop.
Yeah,
you have to because then you'll be a hero. You want to be a hero for 18 years, or do you want to fucking run for your life with your hands over your ass?
How did you get in here? Shot a cop on the way.
When we went to Rarotonga and the Cook Islands like 6 years ago, everyone wanted to do something different. It's a very small island. Went to rugby matches, did all this stuff. I begged my friends to take a tour of the prison. I wanted to see this prison more than anything in the world. So we went to the prison on Rarotonga, and we got there at like noon. And I said to the prison guard, like, can we take a tour? And he said, yeah. And I go, where is everyone? And he said, they went home for lunch. So
wow.
Different strokes for different folks, but apparently that you're on the honor system because they all come back after lunch.
Yeah,
wow.
They can get whatever drugs they want. A lot of them get hold of cell phones, and they seem to have dossiers on every other prisoner. And if you think about it, why is that? Why does it need to be? And the answer is, I'll tell you what the answer is. Prison guards are closer to prisoners than they are to the people who live in their house when they leave the prison. A lot of prison guards got a lot of prisoner in them, potential prisoner in them. Because look, you have to bribe the guard. You can't get drugs into a prison. The only way to get stuff in or to get stuff done or to get information is the guards. They have to. It's like whatever the drug cartels do in Mexico. Like if you can't find a cop to pay, you're out of business. Security guards, prison
underground
guards.
economy.
Yeah. But why? Why do we need all that? Why? How? Why do the guards need to know the information? Like why does everyone know what everyone did? Anyway, shoot a cop. Take my advice. Flesh wound. I'm not a weirdo.
That out.
Not a weirdo. It's a through and through. You know what I mean? Like the meaty part of the thigh. But either way, just don't go in with the pedophile rap. That's all. Sorry. This makes sense.
It's just solid horse sense. So
I'm just telling you what my grandfather told me all those years ago. That's not making this up.
Good looking out for the pedophiles, Ace.
That's right. Thanks.
Yeah. So singer Sia, she generally doesn't seem to like a lot of fanfare. She always wears big wigs, big things over her face, not very much known about her. And that includes some changes in her personal life, which I found a little bit interesting. On a recent interview with SiriusXM Morning Mashup, she was asked about a recent adoption, and she confirmed the story, but it's not your typical adoption story. Here's the clip.
Sia, you adopted a son, didn't you?
I did. I actually adopted two sons. Last year, they're both 18. They were 18. They're both 19 years old now.
Okay.
They were aging out of the foster care system, and and I love them.
So she adopted two 18-year-old boys who were about to turn 19 and be booted out of foster care, and you don't hear that story ever.
I aged out of my dad's garage in North Hollywood when I turned 19. So the thing about aging out is you're supposed to move the fuck out of wherever you were. I don't know. I think Sia, I know it's been said many times, but Sia she's an enabler. She is. I know. We've all seen the bumper stickers.
That old chestnut.
Yeah, but Sia's being an enabler. She is. She's taking people who need to go out, get a job, and fight to keep it, and bringing them into her palatial estate with her giant wigs and bows.
She's Mr. Drummond of our new era.
Yeah,
with Willis and and Arnold.
I do like that notion of I feel bad for the 15 or the 16-year-old who's like in the system who nobody is going to adopt because they'll.
It's like the seeing your dog at the pound. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got to adopt the seniors.
Yep.
But it's the middle-aged ones that don't get any attention, the 5 or 6-year-old dogs, because you either want a puppy or you feel bad for the old dogs. And
right.
in betweeners gets no love.
But
Hi, I'm Jimmy Yo Yang for middle-aged dogs.
In the arms.
You guys, Jimmy, think about a PSA for middle-aged dogs. Like I feel like you've got some juice in this town. So here's the thing. The reason they age out of the system is because the state deemed it appropriate that when you turn 18, you must then go leave the nest and get a job or leave the facility and be on your own. So they're not really kicking them out prematurely. They've figured out that it's safe. I still like her, and I like where her head's at.
I can't say, but think of your situation because, frankly, your situation was fairly comparable to this. But these kids, presumably don't have any family of any kind and, nobody looking out for them. And, they're 18, but in I don't know anything about them, but they might still be kind of kids. And to have someone be like, come on, I will be, I will look after you. I will make sure you get on your feet. Then, there's something sort of commendable about that.
But Gina, doesn't it also send a dangerous message? So let's say I'm the instructor, I'm the counselor, I'm the teacher, and I got some 17-and-a-half-year-old kids in the system. And I'm saying to them, hey, you need to focus, you need to study, you need to work on some life skills. And they go, why should I, Pops? Tricia Yearwood is going to adopt me in a couple of months, or whomever. Bette Midler.
Faith Hill.
Yeah, what do I, know what I mean? It gives them
Twain.
a false sense of security. I mean, it's a dangerous message. It's a dangerous message.
Slope. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Right, it could be Faith Hill.
Could be Patty Loveless.
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
Boy.
So.
Any female country star of the mid-'90s.
That's right.
Jodie Messina.
That's right.
Bonnie Raitt.
Crystal Gale. Who knows? The point is I don't have to study because of this.
You're right.
And many of them, maybe the lion's share of them won't be adopted by country stars.
Maybe.
Most. Look, I don't know. I don't have the numbers in front of me. But then what?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
what I'm saying.
You're right.
All right.
Yeah. No, thank you for making that point clear. I appreciate it.
Someone had to say.
You're absolutely right. So we talked a little bit earlier about Mike Tyson and what's going on with him and the cross between celebrity and fighting and branding. Mm-hmm. And I have an example of that. And I've never seen the show. And so Brian, you might have to help me pronounce this name. Joe Guidice?
Oh, I have no idea, but I think it's pronounced Giudice or Giudice.
Is it? Thank you. I knew you'd know.
Giudice.
Is that
it? It is.
Yeah.
It's tough.
They do they do the Italian Giudice. Yeah, he's in Italy.
He has.
This is the. All right, so the
Teresa.
Right, the desperate housewife of Long Island or whatever. This is the husband who went to jail, I think, for tax fraud or something.
Yeah, and then got deported.
Oh, he looks like Mike the Situation.
No, that is Mike the Situation.
Oh, it is. It's the same guy?
No.
That was just that random picture.
They both kind of do look situational.
Yeah, he got that sort of. Adam, you described it.
Top right corner.
It looks like a kid from the 30s.
He got the same hairline though, like really hanging on to that slick back hairline.
Yeah, he's the whole thing about that sort of Italian, the Goomba from Italia kind of thing, it doesn't really last in California. It kind of washes off you pretty quick. I'm Italian. I come from an Italian family. Nobody cares. My wife's Italian. Nobody cares. There's no little Italy. That's how little we care about Italians in Los Angeles. But if you're back east or Long Island or these guys are, it stays with you for a long time. It's funny here. You just kind of you molt, you shed your Italian skin, and
It's a lifestyle.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everyone thought you were Jewish and you didn't correct them.
Yeah, right. Jimmy O Yang with your Chinatown here.
You got it all.
You guys
Your
move
Chinatown.
in. 10 minutes later, got your own goddamn town. I'm asking for a little slice of a street that has the word little in front of it. You guys go town. I just went little Italy. No, too much.
But Chinatown's always in a neighborhood or next to something super hood. Like it's right always next to the Martin Luther King Boulevard. And it's not great. Like LA has a Chinatown, but it's really shitty and like smells like dead chicken.
Well, that's your guys' fault. We would keep
Who's
little
running Chinatown?
We would keep who's running it? Who are the Greeks?
Yeah, who set this up? Did somebody give us this land and be like, hey, this is Chinatown? Did we decide to set up this Chinatown, this shitty neighborhood? That's just poor planning.
I'm telling you, if we could carve out a little Italy, we would do a fantastic job of running that place. You could eat off the streets. That much I know. And we wouldn't hang weird things in the windows. That's for damn sure. Sorry. I like it is insane that Los Angeles has we have a Filipino bird.
Historic Filipino.
There's a little Bangladesh now, which is like 4 blocks, I think.
Where? Near Little Ethiopia?
No, like in K-Town. It's weird. Like
Little Ethiopia. Every town should just do it like New York. You got Chinatown and Little Italy. They're right next to each other. We used to go out there with Jimmy all the time. Not Jimmy O, but Jimmy K. Good Jimmy. And we'd go over there and we'd eat Chinese food and then go get gelato up the street at the Little Italy. Like it was cool. Yeah.
It's very local, but you know what they should just do? They should just name the corner of Melrose and Highland where the Mozza complex is, the pizzeria Mozza, and they got Cispacca, the steakhouse. They just make that the de facto Little Italy.
Yeah.
Put up a sign.
Yeah. We'd have to go across the street to the Jiffy Lube and tell all the Mexicans,
right.
hey, look, we need you to put on these Italian flag hats.
That's a long story.
If you guys grease your hair back a little and get a guma, you could probably pass.
At least put down some checkered tablecloths.
That's right. Let me light a candle that's in a wine bottle. Yes.
Certain towns are proudly proclaimed, like, okay, we're claiming this as Chinatown, or like, finally we got a little Bangladesh. But some of it feels derogatory. Like some people call Glendale like Little Armenia, and it's like, oh, am I supposed to say that in front of an Armenian person, or is that like insulting? So there's a weird balance between the two.
Yeah,
Glendale used to be all Irish.
Glendale is like, Little Armenia, and then also the Hebrew Heights. I always say Studio City Hills was called Hebrew Heights when I was in high school.
But that's awesome.
It's all the Jews lived up in the hills, funny. And that's why they call it Hebrew Heights.
There is a Little Armenia, and that is Little Armenia, Jimmy. I'm looking.
Oh, it is officially Little Armenia.
I googled it. Yeah, it's on the Google map as Little Armenia.
Oh, okay.
So there's
you
2 Little
racist
Armenias?
piece of shit.
I didn't want to be racist, and now I'm a racist.
Little Armenia is like Sunset in Normandy. Literally, there's a sign.
I got to tell you, from what I've gathered from Armenian guys, Sean, who works in my back of my shop's Armenian, Gergos, who I talk to all the time, those guys work together. Like they're a tight-knit group. They find they all know some Armenian guy who can take care of whatever it is. I mean, those guys are like, we don't give them their due or their credit for I know a guy. Like if you go, my car's got no catalytic converter, I can't get a smog certificate. Talk to Armenia. I know a guy. I know a guy. He'll take care of you. He'll take care of you. It's funny because there's a blue collar version of I know a guy, and there's the Mark Garagos kind of white collar version of I know a guy, but they're both guys who Armenians know. And I never really thought about it, but you got to suck up to the Armenians, man, because they get it done.
So that's Little Armenia.
Yeah.
So
that's
Glendale
like
would be Big Armenia.
Yeah,
that's
we're
right.
Big Armenia. That's right. Sorry. What else we got, Gina Gray?
Well, I think we brought this up, God, maybe last month, but there's been a new development. The pair of autographed game-worn Nike Air Jordan 1 sneakers from 1985 did sell at auction, making them the most expensive sneakers ever sold. I don't know if you saw the story, but if you'd like to take a guess on what they ended up selling for, they eclipsed the last record, which was the Nike Moon shoe. And I'm not going to tell you that price either.
Well, all right. I'll play the role of my mom. First off, how many shoes can you wear at once? Can you
Just
wear
the 2?
Can you wear 3 pair of shoes? Who needs? When were they? 100,000, 200,000? Do you know how many special needs school teachers you could hire for the amount of money that you spent for these shoes? And by the way, to play what? Basketball, where they just take the big tall guys and they just stand there and they hand them the ball and they just drop it into the hoop because they're so tall. The average teacher of a school, LA Unified School, she makes $1,800 every 2 years. That's the average. And they have to buy all the supplies. They have to do repairs. They have to repair the roofs. When the air conditioning goes down, the teachers must be HVAC technicians. They have to fight. They're physically. I heard my friend Ruth was stabbed by a student and they said she had to finish out the day, literally bleeding. $10 a year they pay these people. And does Michael Jordan have enough money? How much money does one person need? You can't spend all that money. Who needs more than one? Sorry, go ahead.
I think I hear my scones burning.
Yes.
I got to get out of here.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Go ahead.
So
I'm going to go
anyone
with.
care to take a guess?
Well, it sold recently with the Last Dance movie because that had to tack on a few ducats, right?
That was a great
By the way,
detail.
I believe that is the most viewed thing on ESPN, or like 5.5 million views. Yeah.
Game worn original. These are original. All right, I'm gonna say $410,000.
Okay.
Ooh.
I'll go just a little lower at $350K.
Okay. I was going to go with $250, so I'm going to say $1.
Adam is the closest without going over $560,000.
Wow.
So they are now the most expensive sneakers ever sold. The second most expensive sneakers now are the Moon shoe, Nike Moon shoe, $437,500.
That was a great detail in that and then in The Last Dance when Jordan wore the original shoes in his last game at MSG, and they were so uncomfortable because shoe technology had gotten so much better in 10 years or whatever, or 13 years, that his feet were all bloody and all chafed.
Yeah, and he still scored like 50. It just shows you shoes do not matter whatsoever.
I loved it, and I always love the theme. And the one thing you never saw, because it's probably never happened, like you watch, it was a great series, it was fun to watch, but they'd go, well, he had this young rookie was guarding him in the first half and held him to 7 points. And when they were walking to the locker room, he said to Jordan, nice try, but no cigar. And then the second half started, and Jordan was scoreless. It's like that never happened. It's like
the worst game of his career.
Every story was they poked that bear, and he always came back and made everyone pay for it. And that's all he needed.
Incredible.
You want to bring it home, Gina Grad?
I sure will. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
That was the news with Gina Grad.